Hi, we're back, and now we're gonna mix not only the composite and tuned track we have, but also we're gonna take some care of the backgrounds and the stacks, and see what we can do with them to make them sound like a final record. Well, the reverb we used for comfort while recording is actually sounding pretty good, because I did choose one verb that I very often use for mixing. It actually matches the track. There is one thing important that I should say. I never do things that I don't think they won't sound good, but I'll leave them like that for now, you know. So when I chose that reverb for recording, I made sure I did like what I heard. Of course, now I have more time when you know, mix down time comes. I have more time to tweak and to choose and compare than when the singer's, you know, waiting for start recording. But I did choose, you know, a reverb in a setting that I already liked, and it did sound good. And many times you may spend, you know, a lot of hours, you know, choosing processors and plugins for your mix down session. And when you go back and listen to your rough mix, you know, when you recorded the drums, or in this case the vocals, you will find out your rough mix was better because it was just spontaneous. You chose something that sounded real good, you know, real quick, and sometimes when you just dive too deeply into it, you lose the actual optics of the rest of the mix as a whole. So this reverb is actually sounding good. Let's do a little. I'm gonna show something to you. I tend to insert an EQ before my reverb. Let me find a good EQ. Here.
I can't keep on going on like everything's okay. If you wanna keep me, you gotta change your way. I've done all.
So I'm not even EQing this vocal, and it's sounding very, very nice and natural. Sometimes I may need to EQ and boost, you know, presence, or take away too much brightness. But when you want to just, you know, make your voice, the voice glow a little more without actually EQing the voice, you can EQ the voice that goes into the reverb. So I inserted an EQ before the verb. That means we are not actually hearing this EQ. The reverb is hearing this EQ. So whatever vocal is being fed into the verb is going through this EQ. So when I actually boost, you know, a low mid or a high mid on this EQ here, the reverb will reflect that and make that EQ change, you know, a glowing result, which most of the times is very dimensional.
I can't keep on going on like everything's okay. If you wanna keep me, you gotta.
See, I boosted presence instead of EQing the vocal itself. I boosted the presence about 2K, a little under 2K, before the verb, and listen to what we get.
I can't keep on going on like everything's okay. If you wanna keep me, you gotta change your way. I've done all I can do to see the diamond in the rough, and now I've had enough. I will.
Okay, I like that. Another thing we can do is playing a little bit with delays. So I'm gonna create a new track, a mono track, auxiliary track. And I'm gonna add an EQ here also, because I may wanna EQ that the sound that gets fed into the delay, and a delay. gonna be a mono delay, a long one. Okay, I will sync to the session BPM, which the session is in the grid, so we're fine with that.
I can't keep on going on like everything's okay.
Okay. So now I will have this delay channel being fed from bus 3, which is empty delay, and it's going out to 1 and 2, which is my interface master outputs. I will go into the vocal channel. Where is it? Here. And I'm gonna address to bus 3. Let's see how it sounds.
I can't keep on going on like everything's okay. If you wanna keep me, you gotta change your way. I've done all I can do to see the diamond.
So this bus is sending the voice to bus 3. Let me bring these two channels down here so we all close. Okay, vocal tune, and then okay, my vocal, my verb, and my delay. We're good. So bus 3 sends that vocal through this fader to the delay track or channel, and it goes through this EQ and through the delay. One thing I do, I don't usually like to use the actual delay feedback. I route the actual track, the delay track or channel in that case, back to itself. I make it pre-fader so it doesn't relate to the volume of the delay I'm listening to. So whenever I raise this, I'm addressing this back to its input, bus 3. So what I get is,
I can't keep on going on like everything's okay.
okay, so this is a manual feedback fader that I just built. And a cool thing I can do here, since the delay comes, the vocal comes to this channel, when it's sent to the delay, goes through the EQ, reaches the delay, and then it comes out of here back to itself. If I add a little EQing, each time it goes round, it will be added by some EQ. Let's see how that works.
I can't keep on going on like
See how it morphs? So we got a morphing effect, which is a lot used in pop music and dance music. It's not, the delays are not repeating themselves with the same sound over and over, which can get pretty boring. But if you want to just, a slap delay, that's fine. But if you want to have an effect of some movement in the sound of your mix, this could be nice. Let's see where we can use this.
I can't keep on going on like everything's okay. If you wanna keep me, you gotta change your way. I've done all I can do to see the diamond.
Well, definitely I don't want that delay, throughout the whole thing as it is right now. So I brought two faders up here. This one on the right is the actual delay level, and this is the feedback level. Let's lower the delay level.
I can't keep on going on like everything's okay. If you wanna keep me, you gotta change your way. I've done all I can do to see the diamond in the rough.
Very cool. Let me write this to the automation so we so it stays there. We can always change later. So enable automation. Anything I touch here now on these two faders will be written. So let's go.
I can't keep on going on like everything's okay. If you wanna keep me, you gotta change your way. I've done all I can do to see the diamond in the rough, and now I've had enough. I will get over this.
Okay, these backgrounds are coming in pretty loud, but we get the idea what we can do with a delay. Let's play back so we can see the faders actually moving and the automation written, and see how it sounds back.
I can't keep on going on like everything's okay. If you wanna keep me, you gotta change your way. I've done all I can do to see the diamond in the rough, and now I've had enough. I will get over this.
Okay, that's nice. Let's before we jump into the backgrounds, let's see if there's anything else we can do to compress or de-ess these the lead vocal. S's or de-essers is a compressor that its specialty is to compress the S sounds out of the syllables that contain S's. It's a very common question: how much sibilance, how much S sound, a vocal should have. For me, what it comes down to is when the S sounds natural and it matches the rest of the track, you're fine. You don't have to, to compress, to suppress all the S's just because they're there. Some microphones, some singers, some voices over some certain tracks, the S's may sound just out of place, especially when you boost treble using EQ on some vocals. The S's may sound too much separated than the rest of the treble regions of the track. When that happens, you use one plugin that will control that. For instance, a de-esser. Here it is. A de-esser. This plugin is what it does, the way it is now, above 5,506 hertz or 5K and a half, it will start compressing, the S's.
I can't keep on going on like everything's okay. If you wanna keep me, you gotta change your way. I've done all I can do to see the diamond in the rough, and now I've had enough.
I don't think we need that. It's very rare that we don't need a de-esser because S's usually get very, aggressive, but the sound of this voice is very natural. And let's see if we need a little compression and what, compression does. Compression does level out, the level variations in a take, in a performance. What a compressor does is when the gain reaches through a certain imaginary threshold, after that threshold the compressor starts acting and leveling, compressing, gaining those peaks, so you have a more condensed in level wise of a performance, which many times is a desired thing. But when you overuse a compressor, you may start losing the dimension and the life out of the sound. I'm gonna open a compressor here so we can see how it sounds.
I can't keep on going on like everything's okay. If you wanna keep me, you gotta change your way.
So you notice each time this orange bar lights up here, it's actually the compressor holding the gain of that vocal that was popping out of the track. So this is the amount of the compression. This is the speed of the compression. This is the speed of when the compressor stops actually working, and this is when the compressor starts working. So let's take a listen again.
I can't keep on going on like everything's okay. If you wanna keep me, you gotta change your way.
See, we didn't spend nearly 1 minute setting up this compressor, the delay. We didn't EQ the track, not when recording and not when mixing. And it's sounding very good. So this shows that when you have a good performance, when you record a singer that is singing to the music, to the arrangement, you get the timbre right. Of course, you have a bunch of tools here that may help you when you didn't have luck to be working with that quality of music and that quality singing, and you may fix a lot of technical aspects with those tools, but that magic of getting the right vocal timbre to the track really comes from the singer singing to the track, knowing the track, and the engineer capturing that with the correct microphone, the good levels, and the good quality converters. When you do that, you are 80% there, if not 100. So I don't see, if we need much more compressor here, more compression, and even to use other compressors. We didn't EQ this track, as I said. We used a little tone EQ here before the reverb of that vocal, which already gave us that lush, that nice round sound. Let's take a listen now at the background vocals and how they are sounding. They're probably very loud now.
Enough. I will get over this and find.
Okay, so let's bring them lower. Let me even out these variations here in volume. Okay, they are all at -10. And now what I can do, I can group these into voice 1, no, BG1, BG2, BG3. That's all we have. So I can solo the actual voices.
Enough. I will get over this.
Okay, now I'm gonna run all these vocals I'm gonna create an auxiliary track and make a subgroup so I can run all these vocals to that track. I'm gonna name this BGs, and I'm gonna run all of them to a bus. That's gonna be bus 5 and 6, which are the ones open. Here, I'm gonna address 5 and 6 to that auxiliary track. Instead of inserting one EQ on each of these 12 tracks of vocals, I can just insert an EQ here. Can run a filter, a high pass filter, so I don't have any rumble, a low frequency of pops and rumbles, and the reverb will come out of the actual auxiliary channel.
Enough.
Okay, then I hear it's, you know, a little bit too, the lows on each, since we have a lot of channels, the lows and the low mids, they add up. Sometimes they get a little too muddy, so I can use the EQ to cut that off a little bit, you know, around 200 hertz, 160 hertz. I'll lower that a bit.
Enough.
Definitely we do need a de-esser here, because 12 channels, you know, adding together all S's, you know, they really add up. So here it is.
Enough.
One thing we can do is actually make sure all the channels, all these BG background vocal tracks, they are synced up. You know, you don't have one S ending before another one, or so you don't hear that you know, those sequence of syllables, and they can be cut and trimmed back and forth, so you have them all synced up to perfection. And we can use a little compressor here to bring this, you know, this more in your face, and a more intense compressor here. This could be a good one. Let's see how it sounds.
Enough.
So with just two plugins and a very good vocal arrangement, we came to achieve a huge vocal sound, very dense vocal sound, and it's ready. I mean, there's no magic, no millions of processing and plugins. So this is to show that the engineering with the arrangement, one playing along with the other one, you achieve the big sounds.